Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. My name is State Representative Erica Thomas, and today I come to you with a very, very heavy heart. On Friday night, we heard the news of a young 10-year-old student. The death of a 10-year-old in the state of Georgia. A young boy who went through the foster care system and was adopted. And I believe the day that he was adopted was a joyful day for him and for his family. But it's not like today, because today is a very sad day. And we don't have all of the evidence, and we don't know exactly what happened on that night. What we do know is that we have a suspect, and that suspect was the child's adoptive father. It hurts my heart even to say that a father could be a suspect in the case of killing his own son. And that is why we're here today, to speak out. Because these kids go through so much. And they're taken into the foster care system because they're neglected. And to hear that this child was further neglected while being adopted is so sad. I too was a foster child. And I went through about 5 different foster homes in 1 year. And oh, the joy if I would have gotten adopted. But to hear today what has happened to this 10-year-old boy makes us very sad and very outraged. And we want more answers. We've heard the stories of a witness saying that before she saw them walk into the apartment, that she overheard the father say that you are going to die tonight. Again, we don't know all of the evidence. We don't know exactly what happened on that night as of right now. We just know that right now the top suspect is the father. And I believe that DeKalb County will be investigating, GBI will be investigating, and we don't know if this is going to be a federal case, but we need answers, and we need them very soon, because this is not supposed to be happening to our children. This is not supposed to be happening to kids that we take into custody, to take them out of a home where they have been neglected, to put them into another one where they're being further neglected. This has to stop today. Right now, we have about over 13,000 kids in the foster care system. This is more than double since 2013. And I believe that DFACS works overtime to make sure that these kids have an amazing and a stable home. But I want people to know that we will not be placing kids in homes where they're going to be further neglected. And I'm holding back tears right now because I am so sad. I didn't know this 10-year-old boy. I didn't know him. But my heart is with his family because I am hurting right now. I know his friends at his elementary school are hurting, and all of Georgia is hurting. Right now, we're going to have State Representative Park Cannon speak.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. I'm State Representative Park Cannon, and I'm so overwhelmed this morning thinking about what I was doing when I was 10, thinking about my friends, where they would be right now if I was not there at school, how traumatizing it would be if they had to hear violence in the streets and then experience it personally. And so today I am here for the children. I'm here to let you know that we are going to continue to work as hard as we can to continue to pursue justice, to create legislation that speaks to the nuances within our foster care system, and to make sure that as we go forward, our children have future opportunities to be happy and to be healthy and to be into safe homes. I think that what we have spoken about this morning here in the case of Mr. Williams, a young boy of 10 years old, we know what this really boils down to. We need more services. We need more boots on the ground. Our support services workers need a better wage. We need to make sure that the organizations that support our foster care system can sustain, whether those are nonprofits or for-profits. We have to be creative in this situation because our children are not making it. And I thank Representative Erica Thomas for the courage it takes this morning to not only share her personal story and the story of Mr. Williams at age 10, but also speaking up for many children who do not have a voice at this time. And if there are any remarks that our other representative, Keisha Waits, would like to make, I'll yield at this time.
I simply echo everything that's already been said, and that we stand with this family this morning. We stand with other Georgians who are mourning, and we simply want to get justice and answers. And we will be working with our colleagues over at DFACS to ensure that they get the resources necessary to support any child who may be a part of the care and a part of the system. Thank you.
And I want to say before we take questions that people need to understand how important helping foster children and the foster system. It is so important. We have so many initiatives in the state of Georgia that we help, so many. But I want people to understand loud and clear that it is so important that we give them the proper resources that they need, because these children are going to grow up and run this state one day. And we have to make sure that they have everything they need to do that. I'll now take questions.
I spoke with DFACS 2 days ago when I did the story, and he told me about the extensive background that these adoptive parents and foster parents go through. Do you think, with the results of this death, that the system failed the little boy?
No, I wouldn't say exactly that the system failed the little boy. We're not done with the investigation as of yet. What I would say is that the system does need some more support. I think that we should have not just foster care services, more foster care services, but we should also have more adoptive services. There should be someone that is paid to be able to support that family. You know, the story did say that the grandmother, had to come in for a week to help while he was out on a business trip. And so we need to have more services to where these parents can get respite even after being out of the foster care system, to be able to get a break or whatever they might need, counseling services they need to be able to get through whatever they need for that adoption, because it's not hard. It's not easy adopting a child, especially if you're a single parent.
Well, and I've got a question in relation to that. You mentioned the investigation and that added support that's needed, but would you also support, I guess, the further investigation into how this man was able to adopt a child? What was the process? What did they go through? How did they vet him? You have a 43-year-old man who, as far as I know, doesn't have any more family.
Mm. Oh, yes. I think that that's very, very important. And, you know, we don't exactly know where the failure was right now. You know, we don't know at this point if there was a failure in the vetting process. And if it was it because there wasn't enough money to put a caseworker here, or did they need enough resources to do something else here? I want to know if that was the case, or did someone fail inside of the system? We don't know that yet, but I do believe what you say is correct. We do need to look into that and see where was the failure, and if there was a failure here at point A or point B, how do we fix that and make sure that it doesn't happen ever again? And that's very important. That's a very important question.
What's your reaction to the fact that this man, the suspect in this case, was a state worker?
As you can see, this is my reaction. It saddens my heart. I do believe that the state goes through a thorough process when they hire someone. And for this man to get past that process, and if he is the murderer of this child, to think that he was mentally ill, something was definitely detrimental in his life to where he snapped or something went wrong, to know that we overlooked that as a whole is very sad. And again, that's another failure. And we have to look into that. Are our state workers getting the mental health services that they need? Do we need to have more mental health services for our state workers? That's a question.
I think this case has also exposed some potential vulnerabilities that we have within the system. I think working and being a part of juvenile justice, we know the extensive work that our governor, as well as the Defects Commission, has done in terms of improving resources and putting money there. So that we are a part of that conversation. I think, if anything, this is now an opportunity for us to fix whatever vulnerabilities and challenges that we may have. I think regardless of whether he was a state worker or a city worker or a federal worker, it doesn't matter. I think the reality is, if you want to offer yourself as a parent, we need to make sure that you have been properly vetted and that you have the resources that are necessary. So I think the fact that he's a state worker is irrelevant to this particular dynamic. I think it's disgusting. Certainly we are outraged even further. But the reality is that we want to make sure that this does not continue to happen. And that's why we're standing with you this morning.
I haven't heard anything about that. I can't speak on that.
Have you been in touch with the family?
No, we have not been in touch with the family, and not as of yet. We want to give them a little time to heal before we kind of try to help them.
And that's a group collaborative agreement.
Yes, but we are going to reach out to the family as a whole, and if the family wants to contact us, if they need our help, please. I'm State Representative Erica Thomas, and we have our all of our information is online. But we would love if we have any family members that need our help. If we need our help with funeral planning or anything of that sort, if we can help with any thing financially for the family, please contact us. We would love to help.
It's not every day that we have a news conference like this. Is there anything specific about this specific case that brought you here this morning?
It's personal to me. Back in 2013, I remember it was just like yesterday, and Representative Keisha Waits stood with me on that day. Imani Moss was found in a trash can, and that was the last time that we had this kind of press conference. And I vowed that I would do anything within my power to make this not happen again. And here we are again today. And so it's very personal. It's very personal. Growing up in the foster care system, seeing so many of my friends growing up in the foster care system, seeing this happen before. One of my foster brothers died in care. And this is very personal to me. And so that is why we want to be on the front end of making sure that we do whatever it takes for this not to happen again.
Are you ready to do anything legislatively to support any changes?
Yes, and so just like Representative Cannon said, we are going to look into this as deep, and we're going to do our research as much as possible, and we'll be looking into more than just the system issues. We're going to be looking into mental health legislation. I think that is something that's very needed. I know that Representative Waits has been working on some mental health legislation, and I would love to be, co-sponsor with her. We're going to back her as much as we can. I know that that's her area of expertise, but I think that mental health is something that is so important, and I think that we are overlooking that all of the time in cases like this and in cases every single day. And so that is something that we're going to be introducing some legislation come 2018. You will see some legislation on our behalf when it comes to adoptive services and when it comes to mental health.
Since 2013, when you last interfered after my mom's case, have there been any changes?
Well, we have got a new DFACS director, Bobby Cagle, and I've been working side by side with him, and he's been doing some really, really great improvements since then. I can say that now, and as of just this week, we have increased the caseworkers' wage by 19%. Caseworkers have been working with a master's degree, making less than $30,000, and we know that these workers work just like doctors. They're on call. They get calls in the middle of the night to come and get children at 2 a.m. when they have to leave their children and can't afford a babysitter to keep their own kids. And then where are we at? Other children getting neglected. And so with that 19% raise, which I don't believe is enough, but it is something good for right now to be able to move in the right direction when it comes to our caseworkers, because these are the people that are at the forefront when it comes to these cases, when it comes to our children, and that is very important.
I'm going to follow up here. I think in one of our stories we reported that after a child's adopted, there is no follow-up care at that point, or even follow-up visits to see if things are going okay. Do you think that that's something that should be changed?
It should be. And that is what I said before. I think that we need to look into services for adoptive care. These families need help just like they needed it when they were in foster care, and also kinship care. When they go into care with their relative, they still need the resources. They need respite care, just like I said. And if you don't know what respite care is, it's when a parent might need a break, a weekend where they get to go to a foster family or a relative or something, and they get a fee for that, for keeping that child. So we do need to look into those services, because it's an amazing thing that these kids are getting adopted, but at the same time, it's detrimental to their health and to the parents' mental health that they need services as well. So you are right. We need to have more adopted services, and if we have to make legislation in order to rally that in, we will. And if there's something that we can do to work with DFACS, I'm pretty sure that they would be willing to work with us to help that. So when it comes to the foster care system, is that what you're asking? Okay, so when it comes to the foster care system, yes. Well, I can't speak on the adoptive part. Yeah. Yeah, but as far as the foster care system, yes. So they do have private conversations with the children. They do check the body, their bodies to make sure there's no bruises. If they're under, I believe, 2 years old of age, if they're not speaking, then they actually do take all of their clothes off and do a thorough check on their bodies to make sure that there wasn't bruises. That's what happened in the Imani Moss case, and that's why the caseworker was fired, because she had took her clothes off and she had seen the bruises and she overlooked those bruises, and it resulted in the death of that child. Any more questions?
Well, a final reaction, when you think about the people that you and getting ready to be buried, just how you
Well, I think I've said it as much as I can say without crying. This is a very sad day. This boy went to school, came home, and didn't know that it was going to be his last day. And for a father to utter the words and say that you are going to die tonight, whether this man was guilty of this murder or not, for him to even utter those words in front of someone else, another adult, is heart-wrenching. And I wish in my heart we can't go back to that day, but I wish that witness would have went to the police. Maybe we wouldn't have been standing here today. That is all we have to say. Thank you so much.